recipes where we elevate everyday meals using tried and true techniques. I'm Mark Matsumoto, and today I'm super stoked to show you how I make my tamagoyaki. Tamagoyaki literally means grilled egg in Japanese, and it's made by rolling thin sheets of egg into a log. It's a staple of Japanese home cooking, and it's one of my favorite parts of a traditional Japanese breakfast. If you have leftovers, it's perfect for adding into a bento box lunch to add a splash of color and some protein. Speaking of bento, I'm taking part in a $3 bento challenge on Tuesday, so stay tuned for that. All right, are you ready to make some tamagoyaki? Let's get started. The ingredients for tamagoyaki are just eggs, sugar, soy sauce, and salt. In Japan, we use a rectangular cast iron or copper pan to make tamagoyaki. But if you don't have one, a round frying pan will work as well. To prepare the eggs, we're gonna start by breaking them into a bowl. I like using a liquid measuring cup because it has a spout, which makes it a lot easier to pour into the pan as we cook it. Now we're just gonna season the eggs with some sugar, some salt, and some usukuchi soy sauce. Regular soy sauce will work as well, but it'll make your tamagoyaki a little darker. To mix this, I like using chopsticks because you want to beat them thoroughly while incorporating as little air as possible. Once the yolks and whites are evenly mixed, we're good to go. I've got my preheated tamagoyaki pan here over medium-low heat, and I'm gonna add about a teaspoon of oil and spread that around a bit. Now I'm gonna use a paper towel to spread the oil onto the sides of the pan while removing any excess oil. If you're using a traditional uncoated pan like this, using a preheated, well-oiled pan is super important or your eggs are gonna stick to the pan like crazy. Okay, that should do it. My pan's oiled and hot, so now I'm gonna pour in some of the egg into the pan and let that set a bit before I start to roll it. I usually make the first layer a little on the thick side to make it easier to roll. You don't want the egg to be fully cooked or it won't stick to itself as you roll it. But on the flip side, if the egg isn't cooked enough, it's gonna tear when you roll it. Okay, that's looking just about right, so let's go ahead and start rolling. The middle layer doesn't have to look perfect because you're gonna cover it up anyway, but you do want to avoid air pockets. You can press the tamagoyaki into the sides of the pan like this to shape it and get rid of air pockets. Now we're just gonna repeat this until we're out of egg. Let's go ahead and speed that up a bit. You can roll this with a spatula, but if you're good with chopsticks, I actually recommend using chopsticks. It makes it much easier to roll tightly. When I'm rolling, I like to tilt the pan up a bit so you're rolling the egg uphill. This ensures the tamagoyaki is rolled nice and tight. That was the last of the eggs, so I'm just gonna use my spatula to give my roll a nice rectangular shape. Our tamagoyaki using the traditional pan is done. When I serve these at home, I usually cut them into 4 slices, but for packing them into bento, I recommend cutting them into 8. Now let me just quickly show you how you can do this in a round pan. The method is basically the same, but I'm gonna fold over the edges before rolling it, so it ends up being an even thickness throughout. The shape won't be quite as nice, but it won't affect the taste, and I have a quick little trick for fixing the shape after the tamagoyaki is done. When it's done, just spread a sheet of plastic wrap out and wrap the egg in the plastic as tightly as you can. As it cools, it'll solidify into the shape that you give it, which should fix any imperfections. For me, I can think of few meals that are more comforting than a traditional Japanese breakfast, and tamagoyaki is a must. Whether you're eating it for breakfast or adding it to a bento lunch, this Japanese omelet is a beautiful and delicious way to add a boost of protein to your meal. Tamagoyaki totally reminds me of my mom's home cooking, and it's the perfect okazu to go along with rice. I hope you'll give my tamagoyaki a try and let me know what you think. Also, I'm curious, what's your favorite bento? Let me know in the comments down below, and while you're down there, be sure to give us a big thumbs up, and if you haven't already, slap that subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss my next delicious episode. Well, it's still a little early for lunch, but I'm gonna go pack this tamagoyaki into a bento box for a special episode on Tuesday. All right, catch you then. Check us out on Instagram at No Recipes.